If you avoid your feelings, you will dismiss the feelings of those around you. When weed is used to alter the inner experience someone is having or seeking to avoid, the long-term consequences of that can be devastating. To the relationship you have with yourself, parents, wife, or girlfriend, and even your kids, and so on. If you have an issue within yourself or your life, just accept that. It's not that there's something necessarily wrong with you. It's that something happened in your life that has affected you or infected your system, consciously and subconsciously. There's aspects of it that you remember, and then there's also aspects to it that you don't remember. But when you know you have an issue and you try and avoid it through the use of marijuana, you are checking out on yourself and those you love by not taking your issues more seriously. You effectively are robbing others of the authentic connection that you could be offering. A connection with you that is fully present and unaltered, remaining sober and emotionally well regulated. It's not only possible for you to achieve this, but it's a better solution overall. And we all know that by dealing with our issues, we'll become a better version of ourselves. That's a lot easier said than done, because a lot of us have a conscious reminder of the pains and traumas that we've gone through. But let's face it, there's aspects of things that we have completely forgotten about. There's also the subconscious end of a issue. And that's why you can try and address certain things that you're aware of and that may help your life to a degree. But those things will continue to be a theme in your life until you've uprooted the entire system and you've dealt with it overall. And that means you have to get to the subconscious part of your traumas, of the past experiences that you had that caused your system to feel like marijuana would be the best option. Because let's face it, you weren't born with a joint in hand. You didn't come out of the womb with an addiction. Sure, some people are born with an addiction, but for the most case scenarios out there, people aren't necessarily coming from that. The things you tried to resolve and fix in the past didn't work because it's a subconscious issue. And until you deal with that subconscious aspect, everything that you are starting to try and address in your life, such as avoiding friends because they smoke marijuana, maybe changing the friend groups that you have because they smoke weed all the time, or exiting a current relationship that you're in because they're always high. Sure, those things can be of value and benefit, even adding in things like deep breathing or getting an accountability buddy or joining some kind of 7-step program where you're able to better navigate what it's like to struggle with an addiction. Those things can be beneficial and they have shown to help people. But in the majority of cases, even after doing all of those things, people end up relapsing and struggling with the same addiction in general. So why is that? Well, it's because what they addressed was conscious information. They understood that they maybe needed to change their friend group, maybe needed to get out of that toxic relationship or job. They understood that maybe they needed to even change, what ways that they navigated going to their job or from work because there's a dispensary on that road. So they didn't want to tempt themselves to stop by it. So they've approached everything consciously. And because that's not the root of it, it's like a tree. At the top, here's the branches. And these are all the conscious things that you're aware of, the things that you're trying to address and deal with, so hopefully you don't have this addiction. But those branches come down into the trunk, and down in the trunk, the roots. The roots are actually what keeps the entire tree alive. So sure, you can trim away these things and they will grow back. But if you take the whole tree out by its roots, now you've not only killed it at the root cause, at the where it's getting all this growth from, but you've also effectively killed all the nutrients that would be going to every branch, every leaf, and extension of this original problem. And so if you find yourself relapsing and going back to things that you thought you were done with, then you never got to the root cause. And sadly, oftentimes in life, when we go through difficult times or traumatic situations, we'll have a very difficult time remembering what those issues are. We'll have a hard time knowing exactly the things that we went through that were traumatizing. And because of that, it's our body's way of protecting us from a perceived threat of not either being able to handle certain things or not being able to go through life with that awareness. And so we'll kind of erase it from our memory. It becomes more subconscious in nature. And so that's where people like myself come in, is we're able to help you pinpoint exactly what those things are. There will be micro expressions. There will be body language shifts, tonality shifts. There will be things that I, as a professional, will be able to spot to better navigate the kind of questions that I would be asking you to this addiction. And as a session goes on, not only do we move through all these perceived issues that you think are why you have this addiction, but we start getting to deeper layers that you weren't aware of before. And that's where the aha moments start to come in. The connections to, oh wow, okay, I didn't even realize that, or I didn't know that. And it's from that place to getting to the subconscious root of it that then we are able to start freeing up your ability to choose to be free of that addiction. And from there, the whole game changes.